Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to our, I say, Club Growth Teams training session for club sponsors, club mentors, and club coaches. So it's training for all three of them. So many, I can't even get the title correct. Yet this is our training for our club sponsors, club mentors, and club coaches who are a part of the club growth team. And I know we will have our club growth director in the session with us today. And I can see that the individual who is our club growth director is on the line. I'm scrolling through the gallery and I'm seeing faces. Hey, Barbara. Hey, Gina. Hey, Junchi. Hey, Allison. Hey, Mr. Club Growth Director. I don't see a microphone. Never mind. I'll give him the floor to speak when he's able to get connected by audio. Yep, looks like he's getting connected by audio. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone. How's everyone's evening going so far? Day going. I know my day has gone so fast, I can't even believe that it's already the evening. Martha, was that you?
Yeah, it's going, woo.
Well,
It's been one of those days, Cassandra. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
You're
Yeah.
sounding so refreshed
Oh,
and,
thank you.
and well rested. That's great.
Oh, do I? That's wonderful then. I've been up
Yes,
since 3 and been teaching ever since. So it's good. Good to know that I sound refreshed.
yes, you do. We
Thank
can't
you.
wait to hear what you're going to share with us today. Chelsea is on her way in. I
Oh,
just
yeah, I
spoke
think I
with her
just let
moments
her
ago.
in.
Good.
I think I did. Hey, Chelsea. Hey, Ray.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Good evening. Good evening. Yes, I am.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Cassandra.
Hey, is that
I'm
Gina?
still in another meeting. I'll
It's
be back
Gina.
in.
And no problem, Dushan. We hear you. Okay. Hey, Gina. Gina, how's the weather?
The weather in Oklahoma is great.
Okay, good. Good. Good.
Are you planning to come this way?
No, not anytime soon.
Give me a couple of months and I'll be down there.
You say you will?
Yes.
Hey, Junchi, thank you for putting that in the chat box. Yeah, I know
Oklahoma
it's,
City.
yeah, Oklahoma City.
Next week, it'll be in the 90s.
Oh yeah. Where are you?
She's in Oklahoma City, I believe.
Okay.
Oklahoma City, that's correct.
Okay.
No
As
problem.
long as the clouds are not green, you're okay.
Right. Okay. Yes, I remember being in St. Louis, Missouri, the year when Joplin, Missouri got hit with that tornado. We were at a graduation. I went there to visit. My friend's daughter was graduating from 8th grade, actually. And by the
Wow.
time we made it home from dinner, we walked into her apartment and she had this big picture window. And we all walked in and we went, what is going on with the sky? And so my friend, who is such a social media buff, she was like, oh, let me check it out. I said, you getting ready to look at the news? She said, no, I'm looking on Twitter. She found out through Twitter that it was a tornado that hit Joplin, Missouri. And when we finally saw the news that evening and saw the devastation to Joplin, we were like, wow, no wonder the sky was looking as green as it was. It was really terrifying.
Yeah, that particular tornado in Joplin, I think it was either strong F4, low level F5. Because judging by the devastation, you could tell it was just definitely not lightweight.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Well, I'm hoping tonight's session will be lightweight for everyone. We are at the point where I would love to go ahead and officially get started. I recognize some of our leaders are moving in between various trainings tonight. Therefore, I am going to make certain that you get the link for the recording in order to be able to follow through and catch up with anything that you may not be able to catch. I also wanted to combine all three of these important leadership roles into one training. Sometimes we do them separate. And what I've learned over the years being a district leader is that each of them, although they have their own separate and very specific roles and duties, they are a synergistic part of the club growth team. They each have their place within the process. I say that tonight's purpose, or the purpose of tonight's training, is actually going to give us the chance to take a look at what I call the birth of a club, and that's where the club sponsor comes in. The life of a club, and that's where the club mentor comes in. And then we'll talk about the health of a club, and that's where the club coach comes in. Club sponsor, of course, is working with a brand new club. The club has never started, is never been in existence, is becoming a club, is going through the process to become a club, and that's who the club sponsor works with. The club mentor is going to get the baton from that club sponsor. Club mentor is the one that's going to walk with that baby club for at least 6 months, get that baby club to possibly crawling and maybe even walking on their own, so that way they can begin to have life and stand on their own 2 feet. The health of a club, now that's where the club coach comes in if we find there are clubs that are struggling. Sometimes the clubs that are struggling have been around for less than a year, or maybe a year, less than 2 years, maybe less than 5 years. Yet we also have clubs that tend to struggle and fall below membership that have been around more than 10 years. It really depends upon the nature of the club, yet a club coach is going to work with a struggling club in order to help bring that club back to life. So they look at the health of the club in order to resuscitate that club, if you will. So those are the 3 key areas, and that is how all 3 of them are distinctive from one another. And as you might notice, there is that synergistic connection with them, which again is why I wanted to make sure I could combine all of them in the same session. Being able to understand what the session will really focus on for tonight is going to be beneficial for me to know what brought you here. In the chat box, I am going to ask you to use the chat box to provide to me some information, and I'll show you a slide in a moment. Some of it will be general information that we usually share with each other when we come together, such as who are you? How long you've been here? That sort of thing. Yet I have 2 questions that are very specific, which will help me to know the primary focus for tonight. After you share with me who you are and the year you joined Toastmasters, put in the chat box which role you're here to learn about. Is it the club sponsor? Is it the club mentor? Or is it the club coach? And then let me know why you're interested in that role in particular. In order to help with thought prompters, I'll simply put this slide up to give you some thoughts. You will see I've answered each of the questions. What I am going to do, though, is to pause for at least 2 minutes in order to give you that moment of silence to answer all of the questions in the chat box. I will see everyone back at the end of 2, and I look forward to seeing what you share. Fantastic, everyone. Thank you so much for putting your responses inside of the chat box. I see that several of you are here to learn about club sponsor, club mentor, as well as club coach. I appreciate those of you who said, Cassandra, I'm here to learn about all of them because I want to be able to pick and choose the one that's going to be best for me. I also appreciate those of you who put inside of the chat box the primary reason that you want to do these roles is so that way you can earn your Distinguished Toastmaster or your DTM award. All three of these roles will definitely lead you there. And as many of you have pointed out with your responses, you do recognize there will be a different level of commitment for each of the different roles. And that's what tonight is going to share with you. Speaking of sharing with you, my brain thought about the handout that I put together for you. Multiple links, different resources. I'm even going to provide you with access to the link for this actual training itself. That way you will always have the resources that are needed in order to know what you're doing with the role. Keep in mind, although I might have compiled information for you to make the attempt to make it a little bit easier to put your fingers around details for each of these roles, don't limit it to only what I give you. Feel free to continue to do your own research and to start with that Toastmasters website in order to find out key information. Thank you again for sharing which role you're here for letting me know why you're interested in that role in particular, as well as letting me know when you join Toastmasters. All of you are seasoned members, and you can definitely handle being a club sponsor, club mentor, or club coach, depending upon which one you choose. Now, secondary question that I have for you. And that question is, what is your leadership style? And how might your leadership style influence your role that you select? Now, some of you may be thinking, Cassandra, was I supposed to take a test before coming here to learn what my leadership style is? And I will say, not necessarily, because all of you are aware of the type of leader that you are. Whether you took the leadership style assessment and pathways with the level 2 project of understanding your leadership style, which is the one that I'm working on tonight. If you did that one, then yeah, it gave you an idea of your leadership style. As a matter of fact, these are the results of my leadership style. Others of you, though, from a foundational level, understand the type of leader that you are. You may be very direct. You might be very compassionate. You could be very systematic or analytical, or you may be people oriented and task oriented. And that's breaking it down even to the more simplistic level. The question, though, is you knowing you, with you having some awareness of who you are, what would you say your leadership style is? And you can put that in whichever phrase best represents your description. I want you to put that inside of the chat box for me. Before taking the assessment, I would not have necessarily called myself authoritative, yet I would have said that I'm very direct. I don't think I would have used the phrase pace setting at all, yet I would definitely say that I'm task oriented. My motivational style, or I should say my leadership style, and I see Junchi, you put in your motivational style, your leadership style rather is motivational and coaching. And I love that. And I see that you say the impact is it's great to identify the members with great potential and unleash their power in creating a club. Yes, very true. And I love the fact that from your very first response, that response here about your leadership style is complimentary. You have truly been showing throughout your responses in the chat box that you are very motivational and you are coaching as well. So this is awesome that your leadership style you have an awareness of, and you'll be using it to build a brand new club. Building brand new clubs need the motivation. And I'll tell you, having built a club and I've only built one club, and that was the Wrightwood Ashburn Overcomers Wayo Toastmasters Club over 17 years ago. My authoritative style was not working for me, and at times it was not working for them in building that club. I would say 17 years ago, my scores would not have been so close together. With my leadership style, the scores you'll see are about 1 point away from one another, which in some respects I'm somewhat balanced, if you will. But my primary style, the go-to, the number one, the foundational is I'm authoritative. Authoritative doesn't always work well when you're building a brand new club and you need more of that motivational. You need more of that coaching style. I'm glad to see I have more of that now. But back then, whoo, we would have to get some of the charter members together over a margarita for them to tell you all how it really was to work with me in the beginning days to get that club started. And perhaps we can leave the margarita out. However, they would be able to let you know that it wasn't always a friendly approach that I had. I was more about the business. Let's get this done. Let's be focused. We have a deadline. Let's get things moving. So I recognize even then my leadership style was getting in the way of building that club. And that's why I relied on mentors around me who had that mix of a leadership style who could guide me. They actually had more of the affiliative style, the democratic style. They were more of the coaching style, and they helped me. And I love the fact that you are putting inside of the chat box the knowledge that you have about your style, because whichever role that you're thinking about taking, I want you to understand that your leadership style will influence that role. And I don't want you to be in some of the spaces that I was in 17 years ago, taking 18 months to work with a club to get it chartered, and then staying with that club as a club mentor and as a charter member. It was not always comfortable for me, and it was not always comfortable for them either. So I want you to be aware of that. Barbara, I'm glad to see that your style is coaching. Yeah, and I've met you indirectly through online. I can definitely see that. When I met you in person a few weeks ago, it all comes together. Democratic as well. Absolutely. That's truly you. And I love seeing Chelsea, you're also democratic and coaching and altruistic. Those are your top three. Chelsea, I'm wondering, did you know that from taking the Pathways assignment, or were you looking at that from the list here? You can let me know Pathways in the chat box, and I'll see that when I come to the end. Thanks, Patricia, for the various styles. Thanks, Prince, for leadership style is authoritative ties. Yes, ties in with that choleric style, personality style, along with pace setting and coaching. Good. Gina, thank you for the mix of direct and analytical style. And yeah, and I would definitely say that having worked with you as well last year with the DLC committee and with the spring conference, or not spring conference, the annual conference. With the annual conference, yes, you are. Martha, thank you. Servant leader all around, absolutely, which you would be blending in all of those different styles as well. Thanks, Cheryl, for motivational and compassionate and coaching. And yes, thanks, Chelsea. You say Pathways had your results saved in your phone. Look at you. Boom. Shaka laka, shaka laka. I like that. Have your results in your phone. Good. Yes. Here is what I want you to understand again about the leadership styles. Your leadership style will influence whether you are a club sponsor, a club mentor, and a club coach. And what you will find is if your leadership style is getting in the way of you enjoying the role, being successful in the role, and making a positive impact on the members of that club in your role, be prepared to adjust. That's the greatest lesson that I learned when I was club sponsor and club mentor of WAO. Be prepared to adjust. Truth be told, I'm still adjusting. It is always a growth moment, an opportunity for learning, constantly adjusting and changing. And being in a Toastmaster environment where we can get credit for the work that we do, use your pathways assignments for the credit. Now, later on, once I get into the various roles, I'm going to talk about certain criteria that you'll need to perform or complete in order to get your credit. Yet while I'm thinking about it right now, and I'm talking about feedback, I want you to remember to find a way to fit club sponsor, club mentor, club coach into your pathways assignments. Whether it's a high performance leadership project, which would be great because then you would get that 360 evaluation form completed. It could be working with a team. It might be, the Pathways Mentor Program, which comes in at level 2. Whichever way that you can make it fit, I want you to be thinking about that. I'm taking on this role, and this is the level and the project that I'm going to make it fit to. Because some of what those assignments will make you do is do the role for about 6 months before you can actually get credit, which would be half of the time that you would be in the role, because in the role, you'll be in the role for a year. All right. Now, leadership styles, think about that. Everything that I will cover with the various roles, be thinking about how your leadership style can best influence the role you're going to take. And speaking of the survey, I will make certain that I give you a link because I want you to give me feedback on this presentation tonight in order for me to get the opportunity to see how I did in discussing leadership styles with these various leadership roles. And you'll receive those links later. Now, remember I said tonight is dividing it into 3. I want to focus on the birth of a club, the life of a club, and the health of a club. Therefore, let's start with the very first one, the birth of a club. For all of you who are interested in becoming a club sponsor, this is the segment of information for you. Starting from scratch, how to sponsor new clubs. This is going to provide you with information and insight from that particular training program that will help you to understand more about being a club sponsor. Remember, the club doesn't exist. Junchi, you were even saying motivating the club, helping that club to become a club. Those members who want to start a club, that's what a sponsor is doing, being there to help motivate to create that club. Yeah, here's a question that I have for you. I want you to exercise your knowledge here. Why does someone sponsor a new Toastmasters club? Why would someone sponsor a new Toastmaster club? And when I say why would someone sponsor a new Toastmaster club, I'm thinking about the organization, the person. Put that in the chat box for me. From your thoughts, from your perspective, why does someone sponsor a new Toastmaster club besides getting DTM credit? Let me put that out there. Besides getting DTM credit. Yeah, that's a good one, Barbara, to help attract new members to Toastmasters. Yep, absolutely. And headquarters loves that, of course, because it's a membership organization. And if we're getting members, then that's helping the organization to grow. That's definitely a key reason. What other reasons exist, in your opinion, for why someone would sponsor a new club? And I've already took one of the answers off the table, right? Barbara gave us an additional answer. Give me one more answer. Yes, developing leadership skills. Thank you so much, Tamara, for that. Chelsea, yeah, they want to be a part of another organization that could benefit from Toastmasters. Ding, 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 ding. Absolutely. You all received it. Here are some additional reasons. We know the leadership skills. We had Tamara who said that in the chat box already. Developing project management skills is another reason, as well as to expand their marketing expertise. There are some individuals who are great at sales. They know how to market and promote and to influence and persuade others. They're able to build that skill when they're building a new club. Now, when we're in this module for club sponsor, remember this is the individual working with a brand new club. We're going to cover the sponsor's duties, establishing a corporate club, launching a community club, feeding the enthusiasm of the new club, completing the charter, planning the presentation, and then the bonus is going to be me sharing some information with you about how to make certain that you can get your club sponsor credit. Let's talk about the sponsor duties. In essence, these are the 3 core responsibilities that Toastmasters International says a club sponsor will perform. Number 1, you're going to help that club organize. 2, you'll make certain that you help them to set up regular club meetings. And then 3, you will help them with completing the paperwork and planning the charter presentation. Sounds right? Well, let me tell you, it's not always that easy. I can remember about 2 years ago working with a club that wanted to start. They were a start and stop type of organization. They started a few years before, they stopped the process. They came back and wanted to start, and a new team of us were working with them. They then stopped in the middle, and the pandemic happened, and we haven't been able to get them on as a club since. Organizing a new club isn't always as easy. Helping them with the paperwork isn't always as easy. And setting up regular meetings, you really have to work with those individuals to figure that out. However, these are the 3 areas for you to be aware of, club sponsors, to be highlighting on your mindset about how you might motivate, encourage, organize, and plan in order to make certain that these 3 duties can be performed. Now, there are a few different type of clubs that you could start. We have corporate clubs, community clubs, advanced clubs, as well as specialty clubs. Now, let me test your knowledge on those. I am launching a poll. A poll has opened up on the type of clubs. I want you to share with me what you think the answers are for those 4 statements. Statement number 1 says, a club which has a requirement that members must have completed levels 1 and 2 in pathways or the Advanced Communicator Bronze ACB before joining. Is that a corporate club, a community club, an advanced club, or a specialty club? Number 2 says, a club which is created for entry-level workers. Is that a corporate club, a community club, an advanced club, or a specialty club? Number 3 is asking about a club which is focused on those with careers as a newscaster. Is that a corporate club, a community club, an advanced club, or a specialty club? Finally, number 4. Number 4 is asking about a club which is started by a church, a college, or a library. Would that be a corporate club, a community club, an advanced club, or a specialty club? I am going to pause for a moment.
Would you be able to show us all of them? Because I can only see the first 2 questions.
I only can show when the poll is ended. Is there a way to scroll down, Martha?
You have to scroll down.
Yeah, scroll down.
Pardon me, Lord. I'm so sorry.
As the results are coming in, I am going to give a few more moments before I hit the end poll button and show you the results. This is looking good, though. It's looking good. I'm telling you, you all are seasoned Toastmasters. You know what's up. Thank you, Patricia. Oh, and I appreciate you doing that. Yes. If for some reason the poll isn't able to be used, feel free to put your responses inside of the chat box. Yes. Thanks, Patricia, for doing that. Yes. Let's see. All right. I'll give it 30 more seconds. I'll give it 60 more seconds. I'll give it one more minute. One more minute. Just in case any answers need to be placed inside of the chat box. Yet again, your seasoned experience is showing in the results that I'm seeing come in. I'm looking forward to showing you those in 40 seconds. All right, 10 seconds, 15 seconds to go, 15 seconds to go. Awesome. We are now down to 10 seconds. If you still want to get your results into the chat box or the poll, you now have 8 seconds left. Good. All right, here's the end of the poll. Here are the results. And with the results, you will see the responses there. Yes, Alice Ann, I see your hand. Go ahead. Okay. With number 1, a club which has requirements that members must have completed levels 1 and 2 of Pathways or the Advanced Communicator Bronze, the ACB, before joining. What type of club is that? You are correct. That is an advanced club. For number 2, a club which is created for entry-level workers, that would be more of the corporate club as opposed to the community club. The clue there are the workers, entry level. Most times corporations will designate Toastmaster clubs to be for very specific employees, such as their C-suite employees or their administrative staff. Most companies, though, do really well when they don't limit who can join their club. I'm very fortunate that when I started Toastmasters, I started at a corporate club. My corporate club was open to everyone, and I was one of the few administrative assistants at the time who joined that club. So it was a great diversity of our membership, and some corporations will have that distinction. Speaking of distinctions, number 3 was very distinctive with asking about a club which is focused on those with careers as a newscaster. That's a specialty club. A specialty club usually will, again, designate what type of audience they're seeking, what type of member they're seeking. Are any of you familiar with the Windy City professional speakers? If so, type a yes inside of the chat box for me. Have you heard about the District 30 club that's called the Windy City Professional Speakers? Good. Professional speakers are who they are targeting. That's their target audience, and that's what makes them a specialty club. Number 4, the final question in the poll was a club which is started by a church, a college, or a library. That is a community club. I have belonged to a community club for the last 17 years. When I left corporate America and left my corporate club, I started the Whale Toastmasters Club in a library, and I've been there ever since. Great knowledge, everyone. Find a reaction icon. Give your colleagues a reaction icon to say kudos, because as you will notice, those answers were answered for the most part correctly. Yes. Thank you, everyone. So now that we know there are at least 4 type of clubs, club sponsor here, we're going to only focus on 2, with one of them primarily. And the one we will focus on primarily will be corporate clubs. A little bit of a nuance. They're mainly for corporate clubs and community clubs, which we will look at, most of the items are the same. Slightly different though on how you might market and promote a community club versus a corporate club. Yet we're going to spend some time looking at corporate clubs. So when you establish a corporate club, the main item that you will need is something called the New Club Information Kit. This comes from Toastmasters International, and you'll have to email them to request it. In that kit comes the How to Build a Toastmasters Club manual, the forms a new club would need to fill out, and the promotional brochure. If you're becoming a club sponsor, it is good for you to have in your own collection those documents, the brochure, and any of the paperwork that a new club would use. At a new club, depends upon who the individuals are that are starting that club at a corporation. They might share duties and responsibilities, or it may be one person. Yet that kit information, they might not go through everything. If your role as a club sponsor is to assist them with making sure the paperwork is being completed, you may want to have knowledge of what those documents look like. Toastmasters, you can get it from them. Our club growth director, Dushan Mosley, you can get it from him. You can also reach out to any district trio member and get the information as well. Yet those are the primary paperwork resources that a club sponsor needs access to. Access to teams is also important. As a club sponsor, you are not alone. Actually, I'm chuckling because as a club sponsor, someone usually taps you on the shoulder and says, hey, are you interested in, or perhaps you walked up to someone and tapped them on the shoulder and said, hello, I'm over here. I'm interested in being a club sponsor. So let me know, did you do the tapping or did someone tap you? Put that in the chat box for me. Did you tap someone or did someone tap you? You're part of a team. No matter who did the tapping, right? You are part of a team. 2 sponsors we usually want to have, 2 mentors we usually want to have for a brand new club. The district director is typically involved because they must make certain the information is submitted to Toastmasters International. You say, does the wife count? Yes. Sounds like she did the tapping, right, Prince? Absolutely. The district director is going to make certain that the credit is being provided. Thanks, Sheila, for saying both you tapped someone and someone tapped you. And I know our club growth director, who is a part of the team, is also tapping people on the shoulder as well to say, hey, would you be interested in this opportunity? And I love that, Barbara. You said you heard about 2 new clubs, Prosperity and Leading Ladies, and you were curious to learn more about the process. Yeah, a lot of what we're seeing now is what they've actually gone through. And what you'll see as part of the team, they have other Toastmaster and district leaders who are part of the team, such as area directors, division directors, me as training director, past district directors. So many individuals can be a part of the team to help, yet the primary roles are going to be for its club sponsor. You'll partner with mentors, you'll work with the district director, and you're going to work with the club growth director. Yeah, I like that, Patricia. You said Alice Ann did the tapping. Now, keep in mind, when you are selected to be a club sponsor, and I'm putting this in early, and I'm making a comment on it now, because I remember years ago, there were members who missed getting their credit because their information never was submitted to Toastmasters International. And I remember we lost a very valuable Toastmaster member years ago when we were part of the other district, when we were part of District 30. A very valuable member left Toastmasters as an organization as a whole. Not only did they leave their club, but they were through with Toastmasters because the district leaders at the time did not submit their name, and they had done over 6 months of work and were not able to get credit as a club mentor. Make sure your name gets submitted. You can check it on the district dashboard. You can check it in the distinguished performance reports to be exact, if your name shows up as a club mentor, club sponsor, or club coach. Of course, you'll be asking the club growth director. You may make certain that the district director, and usually there's a CC chain. They send it off to Toastmasters International with you CC'd on it. If you don't ever get an email saying that you've been officially assigned or appointed, then you run the risk of not getting credit for the work that you do. There's also something else that I have highlighted here, and that is having a charter officer sign and return the Get Credit form to World Headquarters. I didn't realize that there was a Get Credit form until I missed getting that credit. Toastmasters International is supposed to automatically send that to you. The year when I missed getting that credit, they didn't send it. There was a glitch in their system. I didn't stress over it. I said, never mind, I'll do another club. I'm district director. It's okay. I got 50 million things on my plate anyway. I'm not going to stress over it. Yet ever since that experience, I've been making sure I share with not only club sponsors, but club mentors as well. Get Credit form is supposed to come to you. It is the final step that allows you to make certain that you can get credit for the role. It will be something that you sign, and one of the new officers at the new club will sign as well. So that will be something to make certain that you watch out for. It's a paperwork process, and we want you to get your credit. Yet the district leaders are not solely responsible for making sure you get your credit. You will be responsible for that. So I'm putting a little alert out there for you right now. Let's continue on with talking about corporate clubs, because if you are the one, and I think Junchi, you might be the type of individual that's seeking the corporations out there. The rest of you are more than likely going to work with the corporations that are already in our pipeline. Yet this slide in particular really is for you if you are seeking a company. Maybe you have an idea, and for some reason I looked at the word and I saw target there. Who knows? Maybe someone here on the line tonight wants to approach the corporation target to start a brand new Toastmaster club. You're looking at the company size and their location, and I believe that the number, and our club growth director can correct me if I'm wrong, the size of an organization, I believe if they have over 2,500 employees, is a good size for starting a Toastmaster club. You're looking at locations. Companies with multiple locations usually do really well with having Toastmaster clubs. I can remember when Bill Muriel joined Toastmasters and he was a part of Northern Trust as an employee. They had Northern Trust companies in different cities, states, and countries, and they all started to form Toastmaster clubs. It was fantastic. Revenue, what's the revenue of the organization? Who are the key contacts and decision makers? What are the company's strategies, their initiatives, priorities, focus and mission, recent news articles? Those are key areas that can help you if you are considering approaching a company. These will be areas that will help you to think through who you're approaching, why you're approaching them, and how Toastmasters could benefit them. And remember, this is if you are seeking a lead on your own. Most of our District 103 club sponsors are being connected to a lead that we already have. So if this works for you and you're the type of individual to use your marketing skills, these are some details that you would follow. Another idea is you would introduce yourself. So if you're reaching out, you're going to send a letter. They recommend you use Toastmasters letterhead. And of course, this is an image of the letterhead that comes from the Toastmasters International website with the brand portal. I don't think that's what it's called exactly, but it's the brand portal where you can download the business card and the letterhead templates. That's where you would get this document. Use this document to introduce yourself. It continues on with establishing a corporate club. After you make the introduction saying, hello, I'm Cassandra, I'm a member of Toastmasters, I would like to set an appointment. You set an appointment to meet with their decision makers. Prepare for the meeting, get the brochures, bring some team members with you, be able to know facts about that organization, meaning do your research. Don't go in there making things up. Do your research about them as a corporation. Do your research about Toastmasters International. Have your facts together. And then make certain that you wrap things up. And in your wrap up, you're going to make certain that you highlight any next steps. Part of the next steps will tie into finances. You will find that you will be discussing finances with that organization. Some of the organization key decision makers are wanting that information up front. Do you know how much it takes to start a brand new club? If you do, go ahead and put that inside of the chat box for me. If you don't, go to the Toastmasters International website and take a peek. Yet let me know, what does it cost to start a Toastmasters club? Because that will be one of the answers they're asking you for. They will want that information. They will ask that question and they want you to share that answer with them. You want to also be able to determine in the conversation with them what portion of the club cost the company will pay. Will the company pay all of the dues membership? Will the company only pay the charter fee and then the members have to pay the club membership? What is the cost and who will cover that cost? You want to be able to at least lay that out. I know some of you are searching. Look at that. Yes, you got it. $125. Yes, thank you for that. That $125 is the charter fee. Depends upon what month they come in. They would pay that prorated fee. And it always gets a little tricky if they come in around the dues renewal time. The best thing to do is if they come in close to a dues renewal period, add that on as well. So that way, if the company says, we will pay the $125, but every member has to pay their own dues, it would be whatever that fee is plus whatever the fee is. So again, if they come in like right now is a dues renewal time. How much does it cost to join Toastmasters in August? Someone find that and drop that in the chat box for me. It's prorated, right? Toastmasters membership is prorated. Yet we are in the midst of collecting dues for October. So they would pay whatever the August dues are plus the October dues. That is the best way to ensure you don't appear that you're coming back and forth telling them different dollar amounts. You want to make sure you can give them all of the costs up front. So anytime there's a dues renewal cycle and they're coming in close to that time, include that. And again, once you get that detail for me regarding how much it costs to join in August, share that inside of the chat box with me. Now we're talking about money because money matters. I've seen clubs who were chartering, working with club sponsors, where the club thought the club sponsor was giving them incorrect information or not being upfront, not being truthful. It appeared that they were constantly asking for money and telling them there's a different fee and all of that. You want to be as upfront and as clear as you can. With that membership application, we know that membership application has toward that bottom left all of the fees that are listed for when you join a Toastmaster club. If it's January, July, August and February, March and whatever, the September and March, go down the list, you will see. We know we renew dues in April and October, which is always $45. You discount or subtract $7.50 from that 45 as you start to go through. So what is the fee to join in August? What is the fee plus the October dues. You will be sharing that. You also want to have the club designate someone who's going to collect their dues. In a corporation, it may be HR, it may not be HR. It depends. It also depends upon what their setup regarding their finances are. Where are they depositing the money? Are they depositing the money into their own bank account? Do they have to deposit the money into a member's bank account to be held until they're ready to charter? I know for Whale, it took 18 months before that club was ready to charter. I did not collect anyone's money. I basically kept everyone informed until it was time to make the payments. As we got close to make those payments, we then were able, they gave all of it to me. I then was able to turn it over. And by that time, we had a bank account. So we put it all into the bank account and we were able to pay Toastmasters International charter fee plus the dues for our new club. How do they want to work it? Money matters will be important. Being upfront with the information on the money is also important. And one of the secrets that you want to have in your collection club sponsors is a membership application. Notice I've asked the question, what are the dues for August? And no one has yet put that in the chat box for me. Find that membership application from Toastmasters and put that number inside of the chat box, because that membership application is something that you want to know. Just like a new club information kit would be a resource for a club sponsor, so is a club application, a membership application. So thank you, Prince, $15. There you go. Here's another question that I have for you. Thanks, Dushan. You say, as a sponsor, let the new treasurer know how to calculate the dues. Absolutely. And that's why that membership application is so important, because now you can give that to the new club treasurer as a resource that they can use to know how to calculate the dues. Club sponsors, you're still busy because the paperwork side is one thing, yet demonstration meetings are another. Have any of you ever been a part of a demonstration meeting? Type inside of the chat box for me a yes or a no. Oh, good, Prince. I like that. You say you have an Excel cheat sheet that you share with your prospective members. Yep, we do too as well. Good. Look at all of these experienced Toastmasters who have been a part of a demonstration meeting. Cheryl, oh, look at that. Gina, wonderful. Don't be surprised if our club growth director taps you on the shoulder for the next demonstration meeting. Or how about our club extension chair, Ray Willis? He might be tapping you on the shoulder for that. Yes, good. A few, absolutely. Demonstration meetings, then all of you that have taken part know that a demonstration meeting is similar to a Toastmaster meeting. It's simply abbreviated. For those of you who have not yet participated on a demonstration team, and look at that, Cheryl, you're already getting recruited. I opened my big mouth. I apologize. Yet the demo meeting, as it's nicknamed, the demo meeting is a shortened version of a Toastmaster meeting. It gives a new club, their employees, an opportunity to know what to expect in a Toastmaster meeting. Seasoned members usually are fulfilling these roles, although you can bring in some of the new club members to participate as well. That way they get a chance to test it out, see how it works before they actually become an official part. Yet it's a great way to test drive Toastmasters. With your demonstration meetings, keep the meeting within the time. Include at least 3 aspects: a speech, an evaluation, and table topics. Select your team. Your team members will be those that are on the meeting agenda, and you may also include a few additional district leaders, perhaps your club extension chair, your club growth director. It really depends upon who you need at that meeting. yet you will be a part of that team as well, club sponsor. And it may be great club sponsor if you serve as the Toastmaster. Just throwing it out there. Select Toastmasters for various roles. There are sometimes when the club sponsor is reaching out to their Toastmaster friends. Other time, the club growth director is doing that. Other times, it might be the club extension chair. It really depends upon the team who's leading that demo meeting. Yet you'll work collaboratively together to determine who's going to get the roles filled for that demo meeting. You want to make certain that you also invite high-level representatives from the company. If you can do that, that shows that the company is buying into the idea of Toastmasters, and it builds the enthusiasm of those members to be a part of Toastmasters. And anytime you do a demo meeting, this last point is very important. People who were interested enough to come, you want them on an invite list. They call it a guest list. I call it an invite list. That invite list allows you to have the names, the phone numbers, and the email addresses, and potentially mailing addresses of people who were interested. Club sponsor is a way to help the members of the new club find more members. And it's also a way to make certain that that new club knows who are potential members. Sometimes from a guest list, they have over 20 people, and all they need are 20 to start as a brand new club. Club sponsors, these are a few more ideas for you. Notice we're still talking about a corporate club. Quite a bit of work to do, right? Before the demonstration meeting, appoint your prospective members, ask for volunteers, and volunteers don't always need to speak. Keep that in mind. During the demonstration meeting, you're going to have prospective members come to the lectern when they are called. The Toastmasters can act as a narrator, and the Toastmaster can also describe the roles. Now, even if the club sponsor is the only one to do a demonstration meeting, you would have the employees or the company members participate and perform some of the roles. They wouldn't necessarily have to speak. I remember when I did the demonstration meeting for WAO, I was the only district leader in the room for that meeting. I didn't have a team. There wasn't a team available to come in and do a demonstration. So what did I do? The 7 people who showed up for that demonstration meeting, they all got the opportunity to practice as Toastmaster and general evaluator and speech evaluator, meaning they were able to come to the lectern. They stood behind the lectern. I described what the role was. They then learned to shake hands and do protocol and do some of those little fun things. A demonstration meeting does not have to fail if you are the only one club sponsor. So that means if you are the only one available, you can still run a demonstration meeting. And after your demonstration meeting, introduce any club sponsors and club mentors that'll be working together. So club sponsor, sometimes you might be the club mentor as well. I know I was both, club sponsor and club mentor. I didn't have someone who passed the baton. Or I should say, I did not pass the baton to anyone else. I passed the baton basically to myself. And if that's the case, you have that great synergy. You don't have to break the continuity of who the new club gets to know. Yet in some instances, there will be 2 separate sponsors and 2 separate mentors. And there should at least be a meeting of the mind. So that way sponsors, you can transition the mentors. That way they know what they're doing with that particular club. Answer any questions for the mentors, answer any questions for the new club, and make sure that as you're preparing this transition, you bring in seasoned Toastmasters who can share their experience. You're helping to finalize and complete that paperwork, and you're making sure that all of the paperwork is being processed. Now, really, I say club sponsors, you don't leave until paperwork has been submitted. Paperwork has been submitted, and I would imagine if our immediate past district director, Greg Thompson, was in the room, I would imagine that he would say, Don't walk away until the ink dries. Make sure Toastmasters International has processed them as a brand new club before you walk away. And here's why. There are lots of new clubs who submit the paperwork wrong. There are lots of new clubs that don't submit the appropriate amount of money. And there's our hangups every so often with the paperwork. Club sponsors stay on board until they officially become a club. Now, we're rounding out club sponsors, and before we officially close out with them, they want you to know about launching. Thanks, Junchi. They want you to know about launching a community club. What's the difference? Well, you'll see that in a moment. What's the same? Well, the team is the same. Your sponsors, too. Your mentors, too. Working with the district director, working with club growth director, and other leaders. You do the same with a community club as you would with a corporate club. The steps to chartering, well, with the demonstration meeting, you're going to plan that. You're going to publicize the meeting. With the corporate club, you might not have noticed, but they didn't say publicize it. Indirectly, you simply would publicize within that company. With a community club, though, you will have to publicize. If it's a church, if it's a public library, if it's an open club that anyone can join, and it's a community club, you want to find ways to promote the club. Contact your local chamber of commerce, display posters, use social media, target specialized groups, find ways to publicize it. Good. Thanks, Alice Ann. Now, whether it's a corporate club or whether it is a club that is community based, you will need to build the enthusiasm for the club. Now, you might remember Junchi was putting inside of the chat box several different comments about motivating. Several of you have the leadership style of motivating and coaching. This is going to be so fantastic because you will be able to build the interest and enthusiasm of the club because of your natural leadership style. Yeah, what if you're like me and your style is more direct? You're more of a bureaucratic style, or you're more task oriented. How do you build the enthusiasm? Put inside of the chat box for me some ideas you have for how you would build the enthusiasm of a new club. Corporate club, community club. How will you build their enthusiasm? And we know there are lots of ways, right? Good. Fantastic. I'm looking at some of the comments inside of the chat box here. I love that, Barbara. Yeah, take them back to the benefits. Take them back to the benefit. One of our mentors used to say, tap back into your why. Understand the why. Help them to tap back into their why as well, which ties in nicely with what you said, Barbara, about the benefits. Community club or corporate club, when we're launching them, we have to feed their enthusiasm. And I like that, Prince. Get them to incentivize joining the club and or staying with the club. HR departments, yeah. I wouldn't say that always works. I know there have been some corporate clubs that say, oh man, the company pays for everything. They take care of conferences. Members don't have to invest a dime, and the members' commitment is not always there. Yet, companies that have incentivized where it's tied to their performance improvement plan, or it's a catalyst for promotions, or they must do some form of reporting to a manager or to a group, they tend to do okay as well. So it really depends, right? It definitely depends. Gina, I like that comment. Ensure and help them to take on club roles. Absolutely, yeah. Feeding their enthusiasm may be unique for you and the actual club, yet these ideas are great ideas as a starting place and some additional techniques to use. You'll also notice here are a few ideas as well. Feed their enthusiasm by announcing the next meeting. Feed their enthusiasm by selecting people to take responsibility by being a club officer. Give them follow-up with reminder notices. Collect dues, make it real. Once the money starts being collected, it now becomes more of a real process. And give people recognition. Recognition definitely helps. And I like that, Prince. Yep, you're right. Recognition is always key when it comes to Toastmasters and a corporate club. Yes. Our corporate club used to do write-ups in the newsletter when we had a company newsletter. So those of us who were part of the club, we would appear sometimes in the newsletter. There would be articles written about us. We might have written articles. And then most times if we got awards though, they would highlight it as long as we had a picture and a caption, they would post it in that good news section, if you will. So yeah, these are the final pieces. Now, remember I said club sponsors, you want to know the paperwork. These are the 7 documents. And these are all a part of that new information kit. And I like that, Prince. Thanks for saying we actually had an event recognizing corporate clubs. Nice, nice. District 103 could do that as well. We are primarily corporate clubs in this district. You have 4 divisions, primarily with corporate clubs. So these are some key ideas that can definitely help. Now, club sponsors, even if you didn't seek the club, if you were tapped on the shoulder to work with one of our new club leads, this last slide here is definitely one that you will be using. You will help to plan the presentation, meaning the charter presentation. Chartering is a big deal. That's when the district gives you the club banner. That's when the big wigs come out and help celebrate that you are official. When Toastmasters International gets their charter paperwork, they get assigned a number. And sometimes people think, oh, we got the number, we are an official club. Well, not yet, not yet. Not until all the monies are due, are paid and everything is processed, will you be official as a club. And Toastmasters International typically sends a letter to let you know what your official charter date is. So once that comes out, make certain that you plan that party, have the meals, do publicize it, get committees together, print information as programs, or include a short meeting. And the short meeting at a charter party is again a demo to let people see what they have gotten into and to let future members, meaning the guests who attend, see what they can come into as well. So those are the key ideas for a club sponsor. Those are a key idea. Now, I've already talked about making sure you can get your credit. You want the club sponsor name, your name, to be on the form for the club, for the district director and club growth director to have submitted your information to Toastmasters International. You want to get that get credit form filled out, and anything else that you see listed here, which pretty much says apply for credit. That's the only thing I didn't mention. Apply for your credit no later than 90 days. Wait longer than 90 days, and everything you did goes by the wayside. In 3 months, make certain that you have submitted your get credit form in order for you to officially get credit. So club sponsors, you are helping with the birth of a club. You will, in essence, help to organize that club, set up regular club meetings, complete that paperwork along with that charter process. And I threw in one final point. While we're talking about enthusiasm and excitement, be enthusiastic and excited about that Pathways program because you'll be helping them through that. And remember, your team on the demonstration team will be using Pathways when they're delivering speeches and forming those leadership projects. So include Pathways in your conversations as much as you can. And that concludes our sponsors. People who are interested in sponsors, what questions do you have for me? Anyone who heard about sponsors tonight, what questions do you have for me regarding club sponsors? Walked you through, didn't it? Hmm. Did any of you have visions of how your club was formed using the process that was discussed here with club sponsors? I know I was going back down memory lane, being a club sponsor and some of the process, and I was doing a lot of that on my own, although I was tapped on the shoulder with the lead of putting a club in a library. With my leadership style, being able to be focused, I was able to search out the library where the Wrightwood Ashburn Overcomers actually meets. Part of our name is in the name of the library where we meet. We meet at the Wrightwood Ashburn Chicago Public Library. And that's why we are called the Wrightwood Ashburn. And we added in Overcomers, which is how we got Wayo. And again, this process was taking me through. Yeah, Barbara, thank you for saying it's getting you thinking about those potential new clubs. That's wonderful. Yes, potential new clubs. Now, those potential new clubs are the babies of the district. Once they become official, once their paperwork is done and the ink has dried and they are an official club with Toastmasters International, it is now to start doing as every Toastmaster club does, and that is to follow the Toastmasters program to have a life as a club. This segment is dedicated to those of you who want to be club mentors. Now, your commitment is a little bit different than a club sponsor. Club sponsors would work with the club until basically the charter paperwork has been finalized. That could be as short as 2 weeks, 30 days. It could also be longer than 18 months. So it really depends upon the new club. Club mentors, you have duties where we know for sure you're going to be working with a new club for at least 6 months. 6 months in the official capacity. That is why in this segment, I'm going to share with you key insight about the official duties of a club mentor, the quality club meetings ideas, because as a club mentor, you're helping the club to establish club quality, building and maintaining membership, recognition, the education program, the distinguished club program, meaning a lot of these key areas that your own club are following, you as a club mentor will help the new club to follow those as well. And I've thrown in a bonus because I want to make certain that I mention for club mentor how you can ensure you get your credit as well. And if you can recall, I told you the horror story of that dedicated Toastmaster member who was so hurt, so upset that they completely left the organization because they did not get their credit because their credit information was not submitted appropriately. And then that taught me the key lesson. Again, the district will be responsible to an extent for making sure you can be assigned as a mentor, a club coach, and even a club sponsor. Yet the primary responsibility is on you as a member to make sure you're getting your credit. So keep track of the paperwork. Mr. Club Growth Director, hey.
Hey. So can I ask a couple of questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So can anybody tell me just one type of club that you can sponsor? Just one. Can anybody tell me? Put it in the chat. One type of club. Come on, guys. You could think of one type of club.
Think of the poll. The poll.
Thanks, Tamara. That's beautiful. Thank you. Anybody else? Thanks, Cheryl. Think of anything more? I want to be in the music club. Oh, there you go, specialty club. Okay. Oh, I have one other question. I have a few more questions. How many sponsors do I need for any club? Well, if I need 2 sponsors, then how many mentors do I need? Well, if I need 2 of those, how many coaches do I need? Just gonna put 2 down there. As many as I can get. So we can get as many as we can get in here. Well, you know, you guys actually learned something. Well, let me ask this last one here. How many people does a brand new club need to get to be chartered? How many documents do they need to fill out to get chartered? That's right. It's a lot, but it's not bad. Hey, I think you taught them something there, Cassandra. I think everybody learned something. Thank you very much. Wonderful.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I love that. I love that, Barbara. You said a lot. Yes. Yes, those 7 documents, absolutely. And here's the great thing with a club mentor, in some cases where it works out well, where if you are the club sponsor and the club mentor, again, there's the continuity. You can make certain that those things are happening. There have been some clubs, and I'm really thinking about this example. There have been some club sponsors who were different than the club mentors, yet the mentors were a part of the process as the club was going through the paperwork process, which meant there were more seasoned Toastmasters to really kind of eyeball and make sure, okay, dues are being collected, paperwork is being filled out, this deadline is being adhered to, that sort of thing. So consider, if you are thinking about becoming a club mentor, that you might want to be a part of the process with the chartering before they officially become a club. So you get the chance to see some of that paperwork process happening, and you're aware of how many people they have, if they're missing anything, and that sort of thing. Not that it's mandated that you have to. It just simply works well for the continuity when that happens as well. Yeah. You say writer's cramp. Yeah. Speaking of writers, right inside of the chat box for me. What is a mentor? What is a mentor in your opinion? In your opinion, what's a mentor? I know that this is the segment of our training that is focused on a mentor. Yeah. It's always good to know the club history. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, Cheryl. Yeah. And then that way we don't have different leaders coming in with one perspective and the other leaders having a completely different perspective. So yeah, good point. I love seeing resource come in a moment ago. Mentors provide positive guidance. That's great. Someone who can provide guidance and direction to help. Bingo, bingo. You all have it. We say that a club mentor, in essence, and I like that, the trusted advisor. Yes. Think of a club mentor as an advisor and a tutor. An advisor and a tutor, in addition to everything that you've mentioned as well. For a club mentor and being an advisor and a tutor, these are going to be some of the benefits that you receive. Now, you might have noticed that the one item on the bottom of the list is the one that we hear the most from members. I want to be a club mentor because I want to get credit for my Distinguished Toastmaster Award. Well, that's really at the end of the list, and you'll see there are multiple benefits here. I have approximately 8 benefits, with 7 of them above the DTM award. Number 1 is that when you are a club mentor, because you are a seasoned Toastmaster, you are sharing your expertise. You're also able to translate values and strategies into productive actions. You can prove yourself as a valuable leader. You're also able to invest in the future of Toastmasters. Now, notice they're taking this into a bigger picture, right? It's beyond that club, beyond District 103. You're going into the big hemisphere of Toastmasters worldwide. You're able to offer that club a fresh perspective. You can also help to build your teamwork skills, apply your leadership skills in a brand new situation, and then you can get credit for your Distinguished Toastmaster Award. Most people don't think about, though, club sponsor, club mentor, or even club coach until we get to the DTM stage. And that's completely okay. What we are making the attempt to do, though, as the years go on here in District 103, we want you to know about these roles earlier so you can do them sooner. And then you don't have to wait until it's time to submit your DTM award in order to get the credit. Therefore, I'm putting out a plug right now. If you know anybody in your clubs who would benefit from doing any of the two roles, and the next one I'll mention later, any of these three roles tonight that we're talking about, let them know now, and they can start the process of doing these and have that credit waiting for them to submit their DTM later. So it doesn't have to be a rush job. They can do it and enjoy the process. And speaking of the process, there is one. This is an image of the application where your name should appear as a club mentor. Just like a club sponsor, in order to get credit, your name needs to be submitted to Toastmasters International. District director, club growth director, they are going to work together to make certain that the new club's team gets your information. That way you appear on the application to organize, and then we can see your information show up in the distinguished performance reports for Toastmasters or for District 103. And I'm mentioning Toastmasters International because I keep saying distinguished performance reports. You can find distinguished performance reports on the Toastmasters International website under the leadership tab. And it's going to be somewhere on that right-hand side of options. It'll be distinguished performance reports. Multiple reports are there. The daily reports is what you would click. The daily reports open up and it says new clubs, club coaches, club mentors, club sponsors. You click whichever category you're seeking, and boom, if your information appears, you've been processed and you're going to get credit. If it does not, then something's wrong. Reach out to make sure you can get that credit. So this was a stop at the reminder about the credit. Yet remember, club coach, or I should say club mentor, you are going to be like the club coach and the club sponsor. You'll have a team. Club sponsors, you're working to help that charter club. You're helping that new club. You're following up on leads with them. You're helping to generate interest and enthusiasm. You're possibly helping them to recruit new members, and you're ensuring that that paperwork is being submitted. So notice this particular slide, and I should say, this is referring back to what the club sponsor does, but notice this information is in the club mentor section. So that continuity, sure, a club sponsor will be helping to do all of these things, yet a club mentor can be partnered with a sponsor to make sure they are a part of the chartering process, paperwork completion, the enthusiasm, energy, all of that. So the team approach, your club sponsor is a team member for you, club mentor. Get details. As Cheryl Lane put it best, get the history, find out what's happening with the club. Now, I want to switch things up a bit. And I actually want to give you an opportunity to work together. We've been looking at polls and we've looked at slides and you've heard me talk and we put things in the chat box. Well, I want to change things up a little bit, meaning I want to make certain that you have the chance to work with each other. So I'm going to put you into a breakout room, and here's what will happen. When you're in the breakout room, I am going to share with you a screen. And let me show that to you right now. These questions. Typically, when you share breakout room, the slide should still show. However, to be on the safe side, if you want to take a screenshot of this, go ahead and do so. That way you will ensure that you and your team members have the information. 5 questions. There will be 5 questions that will appear on the shared screen in your breakout room. You and your partners are going to have a brief amount of time to see if you can read through the questions, come up with a response, and then when you come back to the main room, we'll talk about your answers. I am going to make sure that you have a few minutes with the bonus minute. The room will say you have 60 seconds remaining. Use the 60 seconds because as soon as that 60 seconds end, it will bring you back into the main room. I will surprise you with who you'll be working with. You will see an invitation to join the breakout room in one moment. I'm making certain that I finalize the list. And I have multiple team members. And I am making a quick adjustment here. Because perhaps you need to put on your glasses so you can see and you can move things quicker. All right, there we go. All right, everyone. Let me stop this screen share. Let me make certain that it can be seen in the breakout rooms. So I'm going to open the breakout rooms for you, and you'll see that slide in a moment. Go ahead and join your room. I will see you back at the end of that time.